Hello everybody, this is James Breckenridge, and this presentation is going to be talking about leadership in workforce education. As we talk through leadership and what that means for workforce education, I wanted to start this presentation off with a quote that I found. It's simple, but I think it's very effective. Leadership is action, not position. So as we think about what leadership is, I think everybody's probably going to have a little bit different definition for leadership given their different situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of leadership programs, what's available, what resources are available, and then part of your action items, I want you to be thinking about how you define leadership and what leadership education really means to you. Leadership development programs are a very broad topic, so I wanted to do my best to find some concise definitions and some examples of how others determine if something is leadership development. So one of the definitions I found is that first bullet: leadership development programs are defined as educational interventions designed to address and improve the leadership capability of individuals. So it really is focused on the individuals and to help improve their capabilities. So it can focus on improving an individual job performance or some other managerial skills. It also can include interventions that are going to increase the effectiveness of a leader. It talks about the 360-degree feedback, making sure information is being passed along everywhere that it should be. Sometimes it can be mentoring, it can be coaching. There are programs developed for certain job assignments or more broad scope, and we'll talk through some of those differences as we go along. What's important is that it has an avenue from which both new and established leaders can receive education and training so they can keep developing, whether it's them individually or as a group. Leadership training does not end with one session. It is an ongoing process that everyone can benefit from. Now we're going to focus on leadership talent. So what talent is, it's those individuals from whom the competition would hire within seconds, and they are indispensable because of their ability to see the future. So that's one of the definitions I found. The infographic that you see below is comparing a boss versus a leader. Now I know different work environments and different companies use different terminology, but for the sake of argument, let's use this as a comparison. On the left-hand side, we can see that a boss usually have to use their authority. Sometimes there's some fear involved in there. They like to take credit for what things are done, and they sometimes can use people and maybe give commands. Whereas a leader is more involved. It creates enthusiasm, tries to coach those employees around them. If there's breakdowns, they do the best to fix the problem and to work with everyone. And they like to give credit where credit is due, and they have the mindset that if one succeeds, then everybody succeeds. So as we talk about the different programs that are available, it is all focused on this leadership mentality, that we can use one person's individual talents to help increase the output or the success of those around them. As I mentioned that this is such a broad topic, I could spend all day talking about different avenues for leadership training, but I'm going to try to focus it on a couple different examples. So here is one healthcare case study that was used to determine how efficient is leadership education. So there are several different reports and a lot of analysis, and what it really came down to, that there are 4 important opportunities to improve quality and efficiency in healthcare. See, that's the unique thing of this study. It wasn't talking about how leadership helps the individual or helps that person grow in their career. It actually talks about how leadership education helps the patients, helps those members within that healthcare system. So the four most important things that were found is that it increases the caliber of the workforce, not only for the leader, but also for those the leader works with. It enhances efficiency in the organization's education and development activities. The third one, it reduces turnover and related expenses. When you keep building on the existing workforce and keep improving, they're less likely to leave. And then that last one, it focusing on organizational attention to specific strategic priorities. It's important for companies to have those priorities so they know what they're working towards. That way, as they develop a training, they know that it is going in the right direction. There are a plethora of different leadership programs that exist, whether it's online or through a certain company, or in my case, within the company where I work. And that's what I'm going to focus on for just a minute. On the left-hand side, we're going to talk about the structure of Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, where I am currently working. So we have our VPs, then we have division leaders, we have seniors, and then we have the team. That is the basic structure. Nobody is called a manager, nobody is a boss. We use that leader team mentality. With that mindset, on the right-hand side, we can talk about development programs. Here's why I like to use Wellmark as an example, because they put in a lot of time, money, resources to develop their employees. And they utilize their current employees to develop that program. We have what's called CEO of Your Career. This is an opportunity to meet with somebody in HR to either work on your resume, to help look for job opportunities, but it also provides a variety of different classes that you can take to grow your leadership skills or other development skills. Some of that is on demand. We use an online e-learning program where we can take different classes when we have time. Some are video, some are interactive, some require some follow-up activities. We have specific leader development programs. So if somebody aspires to be a leader within Wellmark, we have a clear plan in place to help move those people in the right direction. The last one is another option that Wellmark uses that other companies can as well, is tuition reimbursement. Even though there is a ton of programs within the company, if an employee wants to better themselves by furthering education outside of what's available within the walls of Wellmark, they will actually reimburse the tuition. I will say that I am part of that program. I'm using that tuition reimbursement for my master's to develop my adult education and training skills. So, in turn, I can bring that back to the workforce and make it develop even further. The next specific program I want to talk about was developed by the Library of Congress. They have their own leader development plan. Now, I know this slide and the next one, they're both kind of wordy, so I don't expect you to read all that right now, but it is kind of a good reference if you want to go back and read through some of the details of this program. What they have developed, along with the Office of Personnel Management, is a 12-month competency-based training program. It's designed for employees of any sort of background who want to develop their leadership skills and their supervision skills. They can participate in training, they can provide training, they can work with some of their other trainees within that program. They meet 1 week out of every month for a year, and it helps them develop those skills. Now, as I was researching this program, it's very clear that it's not a placement program. So just by taking this class, it doesn't mean that you are automatically going to become a leader or a supervisor within the Library of Congress. However, this is an opportunity to maybe have those employees put themselves a step ahead of some of their competition if there is quite a bit of competition for other jobs that become available. With the Library of Congress model, they have a competency model, which you see right now. There are 5 main bullets within that program. They are leading change, so they know that change happens very rapidly. There's different situations, different pressures, and leaders need to be agile and nimble and be able to adapt with that change and be strategic. The next one is leading people. Well, obviously, when we think of leader, it involves others. Maybe leading 2 people, maybe it's leading a team of 500. No matter the size, it's all about understanding how people work and how they work together and how you can use your skills to help develop those around you. The next is building coalitions. There are so many resources available, whether it's internally if you're in that employee situation or externally, but it's using those partnerships to help achieve the goals of the institution. Next is results driven. Now, sometimes that can kind of be looked down upon, that we focus too much on results. But let's broaden that topic a little bit. Results doesn't necessarily have to mean numbers or we're hitting some sort of benchmark. Results could also be achieving a high level of employee satisfaction or a high level of teamwork. So there are different ways to look at those results. And then the last one is business acumen. This one is really aligned with the strategic plan for the Library of Congress. So it's talking about using the resources and developing a business understanding to help the library achieve the results that it wants to, all a part of its strategic plan. I know this is a very busy slide, but I want to talk about the different ways that we can access leadership training. And one of your questions for the discussion board this week is going to talk about what are some of the leadership programs you have participated in, and whether you think a company is better off developing their own leadership training or using something that already exists. So I kind of have this slide divided in two halves. I want to talk about the bottom half first. So what I did is I went through and I researched different leadership seminars, programs, curriculum that are available online. So I listed out 4 different ones along with the cost associated with them. So for example, that Center for Creative Leadership, they have a 5-day seminar where pricing starts at $7,600. And this can go to many different extremes. The Dale Carnegie is $2,200. The eCornell, it's an online program, that's $3,600. So I just want you to keep that in mind as companies are working to develop their leaders. Where are they best spending their resources to help get that development going the way they want? In the teal bar, kind of the top half, these are 4 examples of free resources that are available to anyone. MIT, if you weren't aware, they have their open courseware program where you can actually go take up to graduate level classes in leadership, and those are free. Those are available to be searching. There is a journal for leadership education with a lot of resources and articles and great information available. And then I also found masterclassmanagement.com. There are online courses that are free. The last one on there is Mind Tools, which this is really focused on developing career improvement or excellence. We're going to talk about that more in a minute because there is a leadership test I'm going to have everybody take and then respond to. But when you do the research, there are pros and cons to using a preset curriculum versus a company creating their own. It's a matter of balancing priorities. Is it more important to develop a training specific for a company or for a career? Or are they okay using broad topics that might be provided with some of these other programs? All right, so here is your action item. There is a link that will be available to you in our discussion post that's going to have you access the leadership skills test. So your instructions are to watch the video. It's only a couple minutes, so that won't take you very long. And then I want you to complete the test. It's not very long either. It should only take you a couple minutes or so. Once you are done, I want you to go back into Canvas and I want you to share your results and some of your thoughts. And do you think you could benefit from leadership development? And if so, which pieces do you think need to be most developed? There are a lot of these different tests available. Personally, I like this one because I've used Mind Tools before. It's not going to, create a whole lot of answers for you, but it gets a good conversation going. So I'm really anxious for you guys to complete this test and to talk about what your results look like and whether it's what you expected or if there were some surprises. Well, thank you all for participating in my presentation today. I think this is a very fun topic, so I could talk about it for quite a while. There's a lot of information out there. Some of it can be very broad, some of it can be very specific. So I'm very anxious to see how you guys respond to my questions and how I can interact with each of you this week. Thank you.